Welcome back to my channel. I'm Angie, and this is Cover Spines and Pages. And it is New Year's Eve, so Happy New Year to all my bookish friends. I'm getting ready to kick off my New Year's Eve with a 24-hour readathon. Yep. No more party drinking for this girl, I guess. Actually, I would drink wine, except if I did, I'd probably pass out and then this whole thing would be over before it even got a good start. So, anyway, in a couple of hours, I'm going to get started. I'm planning to go from about 7 o'clock p.m. tonight to 7 o'clock p.m. tomorrow night. I will allow myself a couple of little naps in there, not any full-fledged lay down and go to sleep for the night kind of thing, because I do really just want this to be a traditional 24-hour challenge. But I know that if I don't take a little bit of a nap here and there and my brain gets too tired, that I get crabby and then I start rating books bad. So anyway, my plan is that I'm going to be reading indie books for this readathon, and I'll be starting with Cold Silver for Souls by Tori Tekken. And I'm starting with this one because it's the only one I think that I have a physical copy of. The rest of them I have on my Kindle, and on all my other ones I also have audiobooks, and this one I don't. And if I read this one while I'm still fresh, then I won't feel like I need that immersive read to stay awake while I'm reading it. So anyway, that's where I'm going to start. And then I'm thinking that the next book that I'm going to read is going to be By Blood, by Salt. I am going to allow myself to mood read a little bit in this. So it's going to be a fun night. I do have some things that I plan to do as part of it. I'm going to diamond paint, I think, while I listen to audiobooks sometimes, and then I don't know, a few other things here and there. And I think Amazon just dropped something off my door. Good timing, right? And now my dog's gonna bark because that's what dogs do when the postman comes, right? So anyway, I'm going to take a couple of hours to go freshen up and get some food, and then we'll get started. All right, so we are just coming up on 7 o'clock Mountain Time, and I'm ready to start this readathon. Yeah. So I already said I'm going to start this with Cold Silver for Souls by Tori Tekken. All I really know about this book is that it is basically a fantasy western. The character's name is Hunter, and she's a necromancer, and she has an animated corpse that she travels with. And aside from that, everything else is a big surprise for me, and I'm really excited about this one. Because I'm reading it completely eyeballs and I don't have an audiobook to read with it, it will obviously be a slower read for me than any of the other things that I will attempt this evening. But yeah, so the other books that I have on my wish list at the moment to get read tonight are going to be By Blood, by Salt by J.L. Odom and Becoming a Druid by Mike Mullman. And so those are the three I'm hoping to get through in this 24-hour period. I may spice it up a little bit and do some different things. I'm also doing reading sprints with one of my favorite YouTubers, Krista at Books and Jams. So I'm excited that she's doing those tonight for a little while. At least I guess she's going to do them until midnight Eastern time, which is only 10 o'clock my time, but I'll take anything I can get. Maybe I'll find something else after that. I was going to do those myself, but to be honest, I'm so new at this and I just don't know how to do it yet. And I didn't have the time to put it together and figure it out. So not this time, maybe next time. But anyway, I'm ready to get rolling, and I have my iPad that's going to be my trusty Audible player later, and my timer, among other things, because I use my phone to film on. So I'm going to press the timer and we'll get started. Ready, set, go. So I was reading and found this little note tucked in my book I forgot was there. It's one of those things that's cool about ordering directly from indie authors, or when they send you things like this. So it's 8:30, which means I'm about an hour and a half into this readathon, and I have only managed to get through 40 pages. I love the sprints. I'm enjoying the time that I get to spend chatting with the people that are in the chat room for the sprint time, but they're like 30-minute sprints, and then you spend half that much time in the chat after that. So it kind of eats into some of the reading time, and I'm probably going to have to skip the next chat time just so I can actually get some reading done. But I do think that I'm a little bit uncomfortable and I'm ready to put my hair up and wash my face, get the mascara off because it's making my eyes burn. And then I'm going to go downstairs and curl up on my comfy couch and I'm just going to power read for a while. So, yeah, not a whole lot going on in the book just yet. The unalived guy that's following around the main character, he hasn't done any speaking or anything like that. So I don't know how much of a character he really is at this point, but I'm really curious to know how that's going to develop. And that's probably the one thing that I'm most interested in at this point is to see what that character is going to turn into, if anything. But the writing style is really easy to follow, and it's not that it's hard to read. It's actually pretty fast from page to page. If I wasn't being distracted so much, I'd probably get through a lot more of this book a lot faster. There's lots of fireworks going on outside, even though I live kind of out in the boonies. I'm not even that close to town, but there's clearly some people at the bottom of the hill that are probably lighting off fireworks where they shouldn't be, and my dogs are really stressed out. So one of them keeps coming over here and laying on the carpet next to my camera stand, and the other one keeps going up and down the stairs and can't decide whether he wants to be next to me or next to my husband. So such is the fun life of being a dog mom when it's 4th of July or New Year's Day or New Year's Eve. So anyway, I'm going to go get in my pajamas and clean up and start reading again, and then I'll be back.
This is where you get raw, unfiltered Angie. No makeup, hair a mess in my jammies. And this is what I'll look like, at least until daylight.
So it is about 20 minutes to 11, and I am at 20 hours, 22 minutes. And I really haven't made a whole lot of progress on this book, but that's okay. Like, there's no rule about how much I actually have to read. But I am 104 pages into Cold Silver by Souls, and 104 pages into Cold Silver for Souls, and um, it's been a kind of a slow start, which I expected. That's exactly what I heard about this book. So I'm trying to just bide my time and be patient and remember that this is why I chose to read this book first before I started to get tired. The main character, Hunter, it, this is written in first person perspective, which is kind of the interesting and fun part about it because you really just get to be in her brain a lot, which is kind of why I like first person perspectives in books. Some people find it annoying or they find those characters annoying, but I think if you were in my brain, you'd be annoyed all the time too, because we tend to just ramble in our brains. And there's a lot of redundancies in the things that she thinks. And so it's slowed the pace a bit. But Tori Tekken is a very character driven author, and I'm just biding my time and waiting for it to pick up. And it has had some interesting parts to it. It is definitely written like a Western. There's an antagonist that is your typical Western tycoon, and and has a group of ruffians, I guess, for lack of a better word, that do his bidding. And Rip, who is the animated corpse that follows Hunter around, he's pretty. I don't know. There's not a lot to him yet at this point. There's some glimpses of some some possibilities, but other than that, it's mostly been about kind of the mystery about why he's there and what happened that he has followed her around for all this time, and how she brought him to be. So that hasn't revealed itself at this point in the book either, and that's where most of my curiosity is sitting at this point. So now that we're pushing 11 o'clock, I'm starting to get tired. This is typically the time I've gone to bed, and I'm going to probably start dipping into a little bit of caffeine so that I can keep going. So I'm going to go in and make myself a pot of coffee, and I will probably sit down and continue this book for a while. But if I find that I'm getting a little too groggy, I might just switch it up a little bit and pick one of the other books and sit down with the audio book part of it and work on some diamond painting or another project. My nails could use a refresh for New Year's, so I might do that. I'm not really sure at this point, but yeah, so it's going good so far. I am enjoying myself, and I am excited to stay up all night. I'm not particularly enjoying all of the fireworks going off, and neither are my dogs, which I've already mentioned, but I don't really like them either. It gives me anxiety almost, well, maybe not as much as, but a little bit like my dogs. I get a little wound up about it, and I think it's because I live in an area that is fire prone, and even though it's not the time of year where we have to worry about fires, fireworks are usually taboo up here for that reason. So I'm trying to just not think about that and play relaxing music downstairs, but that is also kind of adding to the sleepy vibes going on in my brain. So, yeah. Okay, well, let's go make some coffee and see if we can't revive things and get rolling with some more reading. So here we are with a little over 19 hours left to go. We're about 20 minutes away from midnight in Montana, so almost New Year's. And I am about 50% of the way through Cold Silver for Souls. This book is going a bit slower than I'd hoped, but not too much slower than I expected, I guess, which is why I started it first instead of one of the other books, because I knew I would be slow at it and that I would get tired. But it is almost midnight and I am starting to get tired, so I might set it aside and put on an audiobook and do something at the table for a while, maybe some diamond painting or do my nails or something along those lines. I did finally make myself some coffee at about 11 and I'm sipping through it kind of slow. I want the caffeine, but it's not sitting on my stomach very well. So I don't know. I might not drink very much of it. But I am enjoying the book. It's very much a quintessential type of Western, except for the fact that it has magic and necromancy in it. So I'll probably read this for a little while longer and then move on to something else for a little while just to change up what's going on in my brain. I'm kind of tired. I'm past my bedtime at this point, so it's to be expected. There's lots of noise going on outside with all of the fireworks, and I could do without that. But thankfully, I'm not trying to sleep through it, so there's that. All right, we'll catch you on the next update.
Out of the way and moved on. The child was a baker and thin as a pipe, but even had he been otherwise, it wouldn't have been enough to press a thread through a soul, especially not today. The streets turned from dust to stone as his elbow.
So we're getting to the hard part of the night. It is 2 a.m. And dang, I'm just still working my way through Cold Silver for Souls. And I, for such a short book, it sure is taking me a long time to pick through it. And I think I just need to immersion read for a little while. So I'm going to switch to By Blood by Salt, which I started listening to on audio earlier when I was diamond painting. And I have it on my Kindle also. So I'm going to read on my Kindle and listen on audio because typically when I do that, I will play the audio at a fairly fast speed, usually at about double speed, maybe a little faster depending on the speed of the narrator to begin with. And then I eyeball read while I listen to it at that speed, and I read pretty fast and retain really well, and I'm usually highly entertained as I'm doing it. So that will be my my change of pace for a little while. And then I'll probably do that for an hour or so, and then I might go ahead and take a little nap and just refresh my mind for a little while. And maybe that will help bring me back around and I can start fresh. So, yeah, I'm definitely in the numb mindset. I tried to drink some coffee, but it didn't sit well with my stomach. So I'm virtually caffeineless throughout this whole thing so far. I have some Monster Energy drinks and I will save that for a little bit later. I think once the sun comes up, I'll probably be fine and I won't need anything like that. So it will just, I'll have to get out of this dungeon of a basement in order to enjoy some of that sunshine. And I'll probably even take a 20-minute break and go up and do a short little workout in my home gym to like work the kinks out of my back and my butt. Sitting for long periods of time hurts after a while. So anyway, I will check back in a little bit. So I didn't talk about this book very much while I was recording the video. I was pretty tired and my thoughts just weren't well pulled together. But this is By Blood by Salt by J.L. Odom. It was the SPIFBO winner for last year, and I found it to be a fantastic book. And if you haven't had an opportunity to read it, I would recommend that you pick it up and give it a shot. It follows a character who is part of a tribe that is oppressed because they were considered traitors, and he is in the military for the emperor and ends up on this journey and part of a conspiracy against the emperor. And there's some very intriguing and entertaining characters that I just really connected with and enjoyed reading about so much. The world building is fantastic. The character building is even more fantastic. And I really had a good time reading this book during my 24-hour readathon. So I'm on chapter 6 of By Blood by Salt. I'm a little bit, I don't know how to explain what's happening in this book yet. So I'm going to have to wait till I get a little bit further before I can give you any kind of synopsis of what I think is going on. But I am going to take a little nap. I think I'm going to set my alarm for about 30 minutes and see if that's enough to help. And you can tell it's starting to kick in. So this is the hard part about the 24-hour traditional way of doing a readathon. I have done these in the past and it usually takes some time to recover from. So I'm hoping that if I do this a bit responsibly that it's not going to take such a difficult toll on me. So anyway, I'll be back after nap time. So my 30-minute nap turned into more like 2 hours, a little over 2 hours. I set my alarm for 30 minutes, and when it went off, I must have hit stop or something and went back to sleep and woke up at an hour instead of a half hour. I sat up, turned on my audiobook, and read and listened to By Blood by Salt for a little while, but I kept nodding off and losing my place in my book and forgetting what was happening or not knowing what was happening. So I thought I'm just gonna sleep a little longer. So I reset my alarm for another hour and went back to sleep. It's a little bit after 5 a.m. I have not quite 14 hours left on my clock. I'm gonna get up and move around and try to wake my body back up and hit the reading again. I'm not disappointed in the longer nap. Frankly, I have thought about just laying back down for another hour, but we'll see if just moving around will help get things going again. So, normally don't have this much trouble staying awake when I do the 24-hour readathons, but apparently I'm just tired. So, it is what it is. And 24 hours ends at 7, regardless of how much reading I get done. So, all right, I'm going to get up and move around, and we'll be back in a little while. Good morning. It is almost 8 a.m., which means I am a little bit over halfway done with this readathon. The hours between 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. were extremely challenging, and as you know, probably from the prior segment, that I took a couple of naps, and then I probably sleptwalked through a sorry, my eyes are burning, but I probably sleptwalked through quite a bit of my book, which might mean I'll have to backtrack a little bit to see if I've missed something. But for the time being, I'm just going to keep reading and see if it comes back together for me. And the sun is starting to come out. It's not quite out yet, but I've also gotten up and washed my face and fed the dogs. So I'm feeling lively again, and I think I'm ready to tackle the rest of this readathon. So I won't check in again until after I finish this book. I have about 3.5 hours left according to the audio time. And then I will maybe give a little bit of a synopsis about it. And then we'll move on to the next one. So I'll see you in a little bit. So we are in the last 7 hours of this readathon, and I'm feeling pretty good right now. I'm awake and not feeling sleepy or tired at the moment, which is good because this morning was rough. And I just finished By Blood by Salt by J.L. Odom, and I will get into that in just a minute. But just to touch back on Cold Silver for Souls, I'm 50% of the way through this, and I'm going to save this one to fill the end of this readathon if I have some time left over. And other than that, just pick it up and finish it starting tomorrow. It's just, I need something a little quicker pace than that one's going in this state of mind. And it really does help to have books that I can immersion read. And so not only can I read and listen at the same time, but if I need to step away from the eyeball reading, I still have the audio to listen to. And I don't have that for this book, which I've already mentioned probably 4 times in this video. So anyway, back to By Blood by Salt. I have a lot of thoughts on this book. Cut. I have taken multiple cuts just trying to put together my feelings about By Blood by Salt, and I think my brain is just too much mush to try to put any cohesive thoughts together on it. So I'm going to say that I rated it 5 stars. it was a really, really good book. And maybe when I'm editing this video, I'll throw in a bit at the end with some more thoughts on it. But right now, the words just aren't coming together, and I am not doing it any justice. But it was really good. And now I'm trying to pick which one I'm going to read next. It came down between two. I have a couple of other indie author books. There is one called Ascendant by Michael Miller, and the other one is Becoming a Druid by Mike Mullman. I think I'm going to do that one, Becoming a Druid, because it's shorter and I think I can finish it in the time that I have left. The other one is almost a 600-page book. The audio is 17 hours on regular time, and I think even if I was consuming it at the speed that I typically do when I'm immersion reading, I'm not going to finish it before the end of this video. So rather than end up with two partially completed books, I'm going to go with the shorter one. And I've been looking forward to reading this one anyway. So that's what's up next. I am going to take a few minutes to maybe get outside and walk around and get some fresh air, and then I'll get started. So I don't plan to film any sitting around. There's probably enough of that in this video. And so the next time you see me, I'll be probably doing a wrap up for this readathon. So thanks for following along, because it's been quite the journey. See you. Well, it is 4 o'clock, which means I have roughly 3 hours left of this readathon, and I only have about an hour and a half left in the Becoming a Druid that I'm reading right now. So I'll have some time to either pick up Cold Silver for Souls and work through some of that, or I may, I'm thinking about reading a couple of short stories out of The Paper Menagerie by Ken Liu, which is my buddy read on the Tory Talks Patreon. But I don't know, like an hour and a half is a pretty good amount of time, but not enough to work through a whole book, obviously. So yeah, I'm kind of tired. It's been a struggle for about the last, I don't know, hour or so. So I went in and did some shoulder physical therapy, shoulder exercises, which helped get the blood moving, and I'm a little more awake than I have been for a while. But I'm getting kind of hungry. I probably should go eat. And I drank water last night like a champ, but I have not had any water since daylight. So I probably better go drink some of that, because that was one of the rules I set for myself, and then I broke it, which isn't uncommon. I'm not very good about drinking my water anyway. So I will check back in after I'm done with Becoming a Druid, and we can talk about my thoughts on that. And I'll back in a few.
Time's up. Well, that's it. That concludes my New Year's Eve 24-hour readathon. It has been quite a journey. So just a quick wrap up, because I'm not going to go into all the details about books right this minute. I'll probably add some stuff to this before I post the video, so you will probably... So there's all kinds of noises going on around me right now, so I am sorry if you can hear my dog drinking water and my husband playing the TV at full blast downstairs. But as a quick recap, I read all of By Blood, by Salt by J.L. Odom and all of Becoming a Druid by Mike Mulliman, and 173 pages of Cold Silver for Souls by Tori Tekken. The page count for By Blood, by Salt was 374 pages, I think, and then the page count for Becoming a Druid was 331, and then the 173 pages, I guess we can math that really quick. 878 pages total. I actually don't know where that stands compared to my other 24-hour readathons that I've done. I feel like the first one was somewhere in the vicinity of 600 and something, and I don't remember how many I read in the last one I did. So I'll have to look that up at some point and compare them, but I feel like I got a lot of pages read this time. I had a good time. I am beat, tired. I'm ready to have a late dinner and tuck in for bed, and my eyeballs are tired, so no more reading for today. I will finish Cold Silver for Souls tomorrow. And that is a wrap. So if you've been following this whole video, I appreciate you coming along for the journey. I hope you had a good time. I hope it encourages you to stretch and try something hard for yourself as well. Happy New Year. I hope that your 2026 is amazing and that you get all kinds of 5-star reads. Please take the time to comment below if you've ever done a 24-hour readathon of any variety. I would love to hear about it, or if you have some links to some good ones that you've seen, I'd love to watch them. If you don't have anything you want to say, but you would like to leave me a comment, let's go with the clock emoji for this 24-hour readathon. Otherwise, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends, and I will catch you next time.